Goodness gracious.
What the fuck? Not streaming. Good God, what?
So here we have the final of the new patch tournament between Godde and Matizpl. Godde by the South Pole, Matizpl up by the North. Very far apart. And while Froflness attempts to get his live stream in action in the background, I will attempt to cast. So, looking at Matizpl up here, he's gone for a pretty much standard eco. He's gone for energy storage first. Oh, nice. So it's Dualcast time. Matizpl's gone for energy storage first, interestingly. Down on the south, Godde has gone for a pretty standard eco build. 3 max energy and a bot factory, followed up by a couple more power gens. Matizpl finally getting out of bot factory after an additional mech.
Exactly, Marshall. And there seems to be a lot of mexes coming out from the Matiz as well as Godde. Godde has a ton of mech skills over here to the left side of him as well as to the right side. So both these players are in a really good situation economically as they're able to quickly expand to their expansions as well as just having a ton of metal at their disposal. Now, how do you feel about this matchup, Godde versus Matiz?
Godde versus Matizpl. This is a very interesting match because, you know, you have Godde, who's pretty damn well known among the PA community as it stands. Matiz, however, is the underdog of the tourney. He's only been playing for a week or so, allegedly. However, he was a Supcom veteran, so it'll be very interesting to see how the similar but different playstyles of Supcom and PA affect his play.
Indeed, we also have to keep in mind that he was able to beat Orb, albeit in a very, very close game that involved a lot of commander rushes. Are we going to see a lot of commander rushes coming out from Godde as well as Matiz, probably?
Personally, I doubt it on this map. There is just so much ground between the two comms and not too much expansion possibility in the as the crow flies between them. And given the geography, I think it might be wise for them to take up the choke points and maybe sort of contest those while going for orbital. I certainly think this is going to be a definitely interesting game, given the rest of the tourney has been very much land-based and single planet-based.
I'd have to admit that maybe these players can use these lakes as sort of just massive turret fields, pile them up with blue bottles, and sort of control these massive areas of land with just the blue bottles' massive range. I mean, yes, the blue bottles are pretty damn slow, but at the same time, you can utilize the range of the blue bottle as well as the damage capability to maybe start setting up a few turret defenses. And look, we're seeing a little bit of a dead commander right next to one of these lakes over here.
Yeah, that was yours because you didn't spawn in time, so I had to go and kill it.
There's actually a couple of dead commanders here and there. I do believe that these players can also expand up north relatively quickly due to the fact that they are closer. Actually, no, wait. It seems like Matiz is closer to the North Pole than Godde. So Godde will be able to expand to his pole relatively fast, and Matiz will expand to his pole as well.
Definitely.
Look at this.
We've got an advanced bot factory coming out from Matiz already.
Exactly.
Goodness gracious me, we're going to go for advanced eco and possibly slammers very early on in this game. However, neither player has found each other.
In fact, each player can go for a really, really fast tier 2 build, and tier 2 bots are definitely the way to go in this game. Sniper bots combined with the slammers is an unstoppable force, as currently levelers have been nerfed significantly, and vanguards, although they're really good meat shields, able to tank up to 5 landmine shots, they're really not good at anything else because of the fact that their gun doesn't work.
Definitely. Now here we see Godde managing to scout Matizpl, so Godde knows where Matiz is. However, Matiz does not know where Godde is. So now Godde realizes the distance between these two spawns, and you can already see he has set up that forward base as a build queue where one of the dead commanders was.
Yes, I see right over there. He's building a bot factory. He's building another bot factory below that. So he has a bot factory that's going to protect these 3 metal extractors, as well as a bot factory that he's going to be building in order to secure this expansion, which will give him the lead. I do believe that my lake theory can actually work out if Godde is able to build a bunch of blue bottles before Matiz ever has enough hornets to even deal with those blue bottles, or maybe even blue bumblebees, actually.
almost certainly. However, at the moment, I fear for Matiz because, you know, he's been scouted. He knows he's been scouted. He needs to do something about this because he must realise Godde has got something on the way now that he has been scouted, so he can only assume he's got a staging post between himself and Godde being set up already. So he does need to get out that extra build power, sorry again, and also potentially a bit of air control.
I think the problem is between both of these players is that not a lot of them have a lot of power militarily. I mean, yes, you could agree that definitely Godde has the advantage in terms of experience as well as scouting potential, but at the same time, both of these players just really aren't doing much with their military power, and it seems like if Matiz is able to get out even a single slammer or a sniper bot, he will be able to engage any of Godde's forces with the right amount of what was it, micro, and we are seeing a Dox coming at Godde's expansion right now. If the Dox is able to kill all three of these fabricators, even though it is very unlikely, he will stop Godde's expansion towards the north side of his base over here.
He will stop the expansion, but the first factory has gone up, so he won't be able to stop it indefinitely. Although he does know it's there, the Dox is there, and unfortunately now we've got the defense going up.
The Dox ignores him.
That was a little bit of miss micro there from Matizpl. He's just continuing to scout, although given that that is where the staging post is, I think he has a fairly decent idea of where Godde's spawn must be. So this is where things will start heating up.
Agreed, and the Firefly play from Godde is truly extraordinary right now. Now, Fireflies by themselves, they don't do a lot of damage, but when you have 8 or 9 Fireflies in one group, you're able to take out these small little Dox units fairly quickly. I already just saw 2 Fabricators from Matiz go down, and this is going to stop his expansion quite a bit. And if he doesn't send down some Fabricators to help out the missile turret as well as the bot factory construction, he won't be able to restore this area in time, which is going to be a little bit of a misplay for him, to be honest.
We also see a Bumblebee coming in from Godde as well, so this is mega harassment play by Godde. However, at the same time, we do see some slammers coming out from Matiz, so if he can exploit this advanced tier tech advantage very early on, we may see a comeback, or at least a denial of it, as it were, of Godde. But he does, as you say, have so many Fireflies.
Exactly, and you know what? All it really takes to take care of this Firefly is just like 2 hummingbirds. But Godde knows that Matiz isn't building any hummingbirds. There we go. There's the hummingbirds. 2 of them right now. Actually, no, one of them was a Firefly.
Just one of them, but the Bumblebee goes down.
Exactly. So good hits going off, and we do see a couple of Stingers. Interesting. What do you think about the Stingers as a unit?
I used to think they were, you know, a little bit of an ornament. I didn't think they were used for anything other than the fact that they were in the game to serve as a unit of some description at some point, but given the latest patch, I think they've definitely got their use come back up, because it means that given the price drop, it means you can get much more in terms of units out of the factories a lot faster, and it also means therefore you can focus on a specific avenue of play if you would like, without having to rely too much on the others. So you can tank up on Stingers, and you can therefore get your air defense without having to go too much on air and spend resources on it.
Exactly, so there's no really big need to get hummingbirds. However, I'd like to kind of draw attention to this advanced air factory right now. Now, if Godde is able to get out this advanced air factory, he will be able to get out Peregrines, which will basically annihilate all air units in the sky, as well as Hornets, which are pretty damn powerful, and then finally, the dreaded gunship, which is basically the glass cannon of the air supremacy world. What are your thoughts on the gunship?
The gunship moves super fast. I mean, it is ridiculous. However, it doesn't have much health at all. The gunship can be taken down, and this is where we might see the Stingers really come into play, because, you know, the gunship has very little in terms of what it can withstand as damage, but as you say, with the Peregrines, they can really dominate around, and as long as Godde exploits that air advantage, he can then start tanking up on Hornets as well, and as long as Matizpl doesn't keep Godde under control in that respect, he is going to find himself in a little bit of a sticky situation.
Agreed. And we're already seeing the commander come out from Matiz over here. He's going to push forward with a couple of slammers and Stingers right now. He has the air supremacy, and he has the damage to be able to destroy all of these turret defenses, but his commander is taking a little bit too much damage. I feel like he should have brought some Fabricators. There it goes. He
doesn't need the Fabricators. He has so many slammers. Those are just going to tear through all the buildings and units. Look at that. They are there just doing so much damage.
The damage. Holy crap. Those slammers are annihilating unit, building after building after unit after unit. And Matiz, if he plays his cards right, builds up a couple pelters over here as well as some factories. He will be able to secure all of these mech fields, as well as possibly just stopping Godde from ever expanding northward into his base. But Godde is already instinctively trying to move away from this area, sort of just expanding to the east side of this lake over here, and he's going to grab up a few mech fields, as well as grabbing a ton of mech fields to the North Pole, as well as contesting maybe eventually Matiz over here on his expansion.
Yeah, Matiz does definitely need to watch out for that North Pole flank, because Godde is starting to set up a staging post there, but definitely after that massive push with the slammers, Godde's fabricators are just running away, screaming and yelling in pain. Godde must be calling for a medic 15 times over by now.
Good God, it's a little bit of a shame that the airplanes actually do land on the ground. That's something that players have to keep in mind, that your airplanes will land on the ground and become stationary for a while, becoming very vulnerable to ground units actually. So that's something to keep in mind, as both Godde and Matiz have fell for this trap time and time again.
These slammers pushing in now, the fabricators trying desperately to get up a defensive line, but realizing no, they have not got enough time to do it, running away again. The T2 air factory is up. We have a lot of Hornets coming out now. We have about 3, we'll definitely have 4 or 5. We also have a T2 fab from there, so this is definitely going to put some pressure on that commander if he doesn't have enough adequate anti-air. And given Hornets can withstand a lot of damage from the hummingbirds, and indeed Godde does have the assistance.
That was a beautiful Hornet shot. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Those slammers just disappeared. That commander needs to run now, or at least get some anti-air now, because those Hornets. Exactly.
They could snipe them. They could definitely snipe them.
I think the figures are, estimated about 16 Hornets. So with just 3 Hornets, you'd need a good 10 passes without fail to nab a commander. So I think Matiz is definitely going to realise, my work here is done. I'm not going to exploit my stretch my luck here, and he's going to run off. He's going to build a staging point there, which is probably a best idea given the situation. Get up a load of anti-air as well. In a line, however,
I feel like Matiz is definitely not doing a lot of good expanding opportunities. He's not really exploiting a lot of his mech fields. He's not really doing a lot of harassment, and this is going to be the main problem with Matiz actually. If he doesn't solve this now, he won't be able to stop the Godde's basically eco train over here, and if he doesn't stop that train, then that train is going to derail and just destroy everything in Matiz's village over here. But Matiz is going to go after that orbital factory.
Goodness.
So already he probably thinks that it's really useless to stay on this planet. And the same thing with Godde. So the chances of both of them actually leaving with their commander to go on another planet is very high, but I'm not sure which one they would take. Probably the moon, since it's closer. What do you think?
I think they might go for the lava planet. It depends on what they want, whether they want to crash a planet or whether they want to get the eco and the interplanetary nukes or whatever. Although, it's really going to be interesting, because seeing the eco as well from both players, it's relatively even at the moment, although Matiz has a bit more advanced. But it's definitely going to be an interplanetary war now.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter that he has a lot of more advanced structures, as in the long run, because Godde is able to grab up all this land as well as all these metal extractors, he will be able to upgrade them all to tier 2 and thus become basically in the lead in terms of eco. But we are seeing a slammer come out from Matiz, so this is basically the only harassment that Matiz has ever done this game thus far, and if he uses this slammer correctly, he could take out all these mexes, take out the factory, and take out the fabricators.
Yeah, definitely. Matiz does have so many slammers on the field now. However, Godde is really tanking up on those Hornets. Have a look at that. That is ridiculous. That is almost a single pass bomber snipe. So Matiz really needs to get that commander under some form of defense.
Here comes the Air Forces.
This could certainly be it.
Enough, Matiz has been building a ton of flat cannons, so I feel like if he builds a flat cannon, maybe a proxy flat cannon, with the help of its advanced bot fabrication unit, then he could sort of survive the massive push of air units that Godde is going to use against him. But it seems like Matiz, he's going to use all of his fighters against the Air Forces.
I've lagged out, I'm afraid, folks.
Instead of the Hornets that are coming towards the commander himself.
I'm afraid I've lagged out at this point. I can't actually see what's going on. Oh wow, everything just teleported and caught up. But goodness gracious me, I don't know what happened, but I see a lot of air mobilization. But unfortunately, Matiz,
Yes.
I feel as though Matiz does not have the advantage in this air defense, and he needs it.
Oh, did you just see what happened?
No, I didn't. I can only assume the slammer blob disappeared.
Nope. So what just happened was that apparently the Hornets, instead of going after the commander, have gone straight into Matiz's base, destroying 2 advanced energy plants, 4 air factories, as well as annihilating the orbital launcher. There goes any hope of Matiz ever getting to the moon, and there goes all of Godde's Hornets. But the damage has been done. All the advanced energy plants have gone down.
This is going to be a crippling move for Matiz. I feel as though Godde might have this now, although Godde does need to keep his commander safe, because as long as Matiz can get his slammers in there, the commander is only, you know, a spitting distance away in terms of slammers. Matiz really needs to exploit this advantage.
But at the same time, we're seeing some Astraeuses come out, and I don't see the commander for Godde right now, which means that Godde must have left the planet and is now probably somewhere else on a different planet. Let's see where he is.
I still see Godde's commander on the ice planet.
Yes.
Unless I'm really far behind.
Oh, no. My correction. He's about to get on the Astraeus. I assumed he left due to the fact that there was a couple of Astraeuses on the ice planet.
I'm just going to take this opportunity to look at the other planets.
Yes, they're very beautiful planets, and the Hornets are coming in, oh my god, doing so much damage, crippling and annihilating a couple of these slammers over here. He needs to get some advanced combat medics going. A beautiful Hornet run is going to come out, destroying 4, maybe even 5 slammers, and there goes another Hornet run, annihilating almost half of them. The slammer advantage from Matiz is going away faster and faster and faster, and soon the commander will be by himself with no
The commander needs to get over to those flat cannons, otherwise he's going to find himself way too far out, and the Hornets can just keep being produced, given Godde's superior eco. He needs to move those slammers in now through that gap, because if you see, there's loads of laser points, but there's a massive gap in the middle, and those slammers can just move through there and just annihilate everything. Although, however, it is certain at this point that Godde's commander is off the planet, and it is on its way to the... I'm not sure which way it's going, actually. It seems as though there's 2 destinations. Ah, that's why, because there's already something else in orbit, so I can only assume he's going to be building a teleporter on one of the other planets as well. But Godde is off planet.
It seems like Godde is also trying to match up to Matiz in terms of slammer production by building a couple of tier 2 bot factories right next to Matiz's base over here. And Matiz does have a couple of stationary slammers in position, but he's stopped using them for some reason. I'm not sure why that is.
Never before have we seen artillery be able to slap each other in the face. That is how close these pelters are to these Hulkins. That is ridiculous. Have you seen how close they are being built together?
I'm definitely not sure why Mr. Matiz over here is building a Hulkin so close to these pelters. He could definitely build it farther away. I feel like he's trying to be really aggressive, but there's no need to be this aggressive, to be honest. Mr. Matiz has rebuilt his orbital launcher, however, so that's pretty good. He will be able to move out his commander if things get hairy, but remember, if you put your Astraeus on airspace long enough, it will be shot down by peregrines or maybe even the hummingbird.
Matiz has an Astraeus now as himself as well. He's going to get a advanced fabricator off planet. He is very far behind though in both eco expansion and in getting off the planet. Another pass of Hornets coming in from the rear by the North Pole. This is going to be devastating for Matiz's base. He does have flat cannons up now, however, but not throughout the entirety.
It's a little bit strange as he's instead going for the expansions, not really going for the massive eco, the tier 2, the factories, the energy plants, all of these great buildings he could target. I feel like he's really focusing on targets that don't really matter in the grand course of the game. However, there was a tier 2 metal extractor there. You
could, however, argue that they do matter, because at this point in the game, who really bumps up their expansions once more if they've been destroyed? Especially now that we're in multi-planet play, it's just going to be too much for someone to focus on. So taking out those expansions, while small, will count big time when he does take out the base, because he'll realise he doesn't have those expansions to rely on, because normally it's the base that's attacked and the expansions that's forgotten about.
Exactly. So it's just going to be another noose around Matiz's neck. However,
Indeed
I'd
it
like
is.
to argue that maybe Godde should draw his attention more so towards getting rid of the commander and basically strangling Matiz right now instead of playing his time away. And the Hawkins is now built for Matiz, so this is going to be basically hell on earth for Godde, as all of these structures are going to go down. The Pelter does a lot of damage, but the Hawkins does even more and has even more range. However, if the Pelters just focus fire on the Hawkins, then they will be able to kill it.
We do see continual Hornet production, and what I am looking at right now is the build queue for the multiple advanced factories just to the side of Matiz's old base near his orbital launcher. There is no defense for that.
Exactly, and the Slammers are pushing in along with the air units. The air units will be able to destroy all these air factories for Matiz, as well as just annihilating any single Slammer that gets in their way. Mr. Matiz is trying desperately to try and get some air defense out, but I think he's doing an inadequate job of that because he has massive gaps in a lot of different territories of his base.
Definitely. We also see a lot of orbital fighters being produced, and my goodness, there's a Hornet run! There's a Hornet run now in the sort of middle of the base, taking out a whole bunch of mechs, or at least weakening it. I've lagged out a bit, so I can't quite see whether it's dead or not.
The Avengers right now from Matiz, I feel, is a really curious sort of play indeed. As he doesn't really need Avengers, he doesn't really need orbitals. He should really focus on this land game, or instead just get out of the planet and just leave. I feel like the Avengers are a waste of metal and energy right now currently, as there's no orbital units to contest with. He's basically won the orbital war, but he's not really utilizing it to his full advantage.
Well, at this point, does he really want to be focusing on that, considering he has Slammers moving in on his base from both sides? So he's going to be crippling getting his economy crippled, and he's not been pushing against Godde into his base. He has all of these Slammers here, but he's just not using that advantage. If he just went in with those now while the Hornets are all doing their own thing, he could probably do a fair bit of damage to all of that air production and the base and the eco, along with the orbital.
Exactly. Matiz has a lot of ways to attack the other base, but it seems as though he's just not using them. He's not using his massive assets. He's not using his eco. He's not using his orbitals. I feel like this player, he does have a lot of stuff going for him, but he's just not using it. He's being neglectful of the power that he contains.
Definitely. I'm just taking a quick look at the other planets. Still, we have nothing getting to the other planet. However, Godde is just about to get an orbital fabricator to Erebus, the lava planet closest to the sun now, so he will likely be building a teleporter. Let's just check whether he is still building one.
And my god, there are so many hummingbirds right now out on the field. So many being produced right now by both of these players. It is going to be a dogfight right now between both of these players. Just the air battles after air battles after air battles.
Definitely, and here they are. They're about to face off each other now. Unfortunately, these hummingbirds are sitting on the floor. They don't want to be doing that. Or at least half of them are. Look at that. They're almost sort of, you know, patrolling around the blob saying, "Oi, come at me, bro." Boy, I'm lagging out a bit.
There's no flat cannons coming out from Matiz right now currently as well. It's just a little bit strange, as Matiz should be using his commander, maybe some of these fabricators, to try and maybe build up some air defenses over here, maybe over here and over here, to stop this air push from Godde. It's a little bit strange to say the least. Mr. Marshall, it seems like your theory was right. After he was able to clear out all the laser defense towers here, he is going to push over with a couple of Slammers and annihilate these factories as well as these power plants right now. Godde is in trouble right now, as these Slammers are uncontested. There's no ground army to stop them. However, there is a Hornet. Will the Hornet be able to do anything? The Hornet will annihilate half these Slammers. Hello there, Mr. WP Marshall. You just missed a grandiose push between Matiz and Godde right now.
I just about managed to see it. I've just laid out just before the Hornet has dropped its payload. I could see a floating bomb and a whole bunch of Slammers tap dancing on the spot. And there go the Slammers. Exactly. Goodness me, they did need a bit more air defense than that. But they were, of course, attacking Godde's home turf, which is always going to be an uphill struggle. But now Godde has really won that staging post. And given Matiz's...
but however...
I was just going to say, given Matiz's losses suffered to his base and production, and given Godde's production, have you seen how many advanced bot factories there are? There are more blooming Slammers on this planet than there are stars in the sky. It is ridiculous.
Exactly, and Matis is doing nothing in order to stop this. He's basically like an infant child, thinking the world is magical and not, and then someone slams his head across the concrete.
However, there are 2 advanced air factories, so he is building an answer to Godde's Hornets. He will probably get up some Peregrines here. This is really going to be an interesting turn of events.
Actually, he's building Hornets.
Oh, what? Now, I'm just going to draw your attention to Erebus right now. We have a teleporter on planet, and it is completed. It is not yet currently set up a link with a teleporter way back on Olympus. Not even sure if one has been built yet by Godde, or whether it is in production, but we definitely have one on Erebus.
I must say, he could definitely use that to try and expand. Massive slammer attack was being carried out by Godde onto Matiz's base over here, but the Hornets that Matiz did build are able to destroy this entire assortment of slammers, and we'll be able to kill off a huge chunk of them, which is actually pretty damn good.
I'm really starting to experience lag now, I'm afraid, but I must say, you know, getting those tier 2 air factories, I think, is probably going to be Matiz's saving grace, at least for the time being.
Yes, exactly. And we already see that Godde is trying to push out, trying to destroy this massive attack of Hulkins and Pelters and all these different sort of buildings, but it seems like Matiz was able to defend this entire assortment by just the use of a few good slammers, and a Hornet Strike coming out from Matiz is going to maybe be able to do some damage. Alas, there's too many hummingbirds, too much air defense from Godde, so it won't be able to do anything besides kill the random slammer.
I think at this point the Hornets should really be used in defense until he's got enough Peregrines to really make a difference in that air force. But have you seen how many hummingbirds are just sitting waiting outside of those air factories? You could almost say there are more hummingbirds than there are slammers than there are stars in the sky.
Exactly. They're basically like the people at McDonald's that are waiting till 7 a.m. to get their egg and cheese meal. But at the same time, I feel as though Matiz is trying way too hard to dominate the orbital space, when indeed he's already won it long ago. He's getting a teleporter, but again, it's not going to really matter as the air domination by Godde. Look how many...
That is ridiculous! Oh my word. That is almost...
crap.
That's just a belt of red triangles just sweeping across the planet. And of course they've stopped because of lag. But goodness gracious me, that looks impressive.
The slammers and the hummingbirds are just way too much for Matiz to handle. He doesn't have enough slammers to defend against all these enemy slammers. And he does have Hornets, but at the same time, one good pass from these hummingbirds and all these Hornets are dead.
Hornets do appear to be taking damage, and they are going to go down. They need Peregrines out here now, prontoliciously.
Exactly. Peregrines are needed. I feel like as if Matiz should change up his bot strategy and go for instead sniper bots. They have a significantly larger range, they do more damage, they do have less of a fire rate and are less tanky than the slammer, but at the same time, they are definitely what he needs, as he will be able to get away from those slammers and shoot them from afar, and then focus on Peregrines to defend against Hornets as well as enemy hummingbirds, rather than relying upon Hornets to kill these slammers solely.
Now take a look at Purgatora, because Godde has a teleport up, he has a lot of fabricators, and he's getting control of this moon now. He's really building there, and he's also got an umbrella being built. We have an orbital fabber from Matiz in orbit, but it's not building a teleport. And if I'm not mistaken, I did see a teleporter going up in Matiz's base next to a couple of orbital launchers. There it is.
Exactly. But he's not using it for anything, he hasn't connected it to everything. And Godde will be able to dominate this moon over here with the use of these umbrellas and the teleport as well as the factories. But Matiz does have an orbital fabrication bot here, so if he could build a laser platform and contest this planet, actually, I mean this moon.
Could certainly, but given the number of umbrellas there now, it is going to be difficult. However,
Exactly.
the commander is there.
We do see the Hornet, I mean the nuclear missile launcher, coming out from Godde. Now it only does take 2 nukes to eliminate a commander, so all Godde needs is 1 nuke and then another nuke afterwards, and he will be able to annihilate the commander of Mr. Matiz. But I feel like he's going to launch the nuke on maybe the Hulkins placement, or maybe the factory, and maybe also the energy or metal production of Matiz over here. Matiz is building a huge array of laser towers as well as missile towers to defend against one side of his base, but he's left the other side completely completely exposed to the slammer harassment.
I have just had a very worrying theory. I'm just remembering a 3 versus 3 I played a long time ago where we only managed to come back because we had so many Hornets and nukes. Now, this wouldn't be a problem unless Godde didn't have these Hornets, which he does. So only theoretically one nuke is required to take out all of that anti-air and maybe do a bit of splash damage to the commander. And then the Hornets follow it up with a free bomber snipe on an already injured commander. Now, this is definitely a very real possibility.
Exactly, and there's just so many slammers right now from Godde over here. I fear as though Matiz has lost this game. He just does not have enough production to stop this. He's focusing on his efforts on fruitless things like Avengers. He's building 3 orbital launchers when he's not really utilizing them to the best of their ability. A teleporter for no reason, and he's not taking up to Peregrines. He's not getting sniper bots in order to deal with these slammers. He might have just lost this game, to be honest, unless he switches his tech up, goes to a different planet, and maybe, just maybe, wins the planet domination there, and thus can sort of drag this game on to a stalemate.
He has got a long way to go in not too long a time because that nuke is already halfway completed, so he does have to really get his socks on now and sort himself out because there are more than enough Hornets for a single pass bomber snipe, and once that nuke hits that commander, it could be game over because Matiz does not have air superiority. And as long as Godde maintains this air superiority, this is a done deal for Godde within the next 5 minutes.
Exactly, and there's just way too many bombers right now on the field for basically Godde to even sort of contest with over here in this battlefield for these 2 advanced bot factories. But again, Godde does have the fighters to support or maybe even try to help out these slammers, but alas, they were taken out due to the superior numbers of fighters from Matiz. It feels like as though the fighters from both Matiz and Godde always keep trading blows. One gets more fighters than the other due to various exchanges of aircraft, and we do see that there's a large assortment of air factories being built for Matiz right now, so Matiz may be able to eclipse Godde in terms of air superiority.
I should point out that Matiz is managing to successfully get up a teleporter on the moon. He can get his commander to the moon. It will be risky, but if he can get it out of there, he'd be safe from the nuke for the time being.
Exactly, and if he brings up a couple of slammers as well as a couple of fabricators with him, he could even score the kill on the enemy commander, in fact.
The nuke is ready, the nuke is ready, we need to keep our eyes on that. I'm sorry I interrupted you there, but the commander is heading towards the teleporter. The connection has not yet been established, but the nuke is so nearly ready to fire. It would be a shame if Godde does not get this opportunity because Matiz's commander is within stroking distance almost of that teleporter.
Exactly. This is a very, very close game indeed. In fact, both players right now, I'd like to argue, have a decent shot of winning this if he's just able to connect to the teleporter really, really fast. Nuke coming out.
Nuke's away.
Hits the commander. And it will actually hit the middle of his base, destroying a ton of production, a lot of the tier 2, a lot of the advanced energy plants, but sadly not the teleporter and not the commander. This is not where he should have launched the nuke, actually.
Yeah, this is where the sort of mid to late game scouting is really quite important because that was a wasted nuke.
Exactly. And though there was a lot of mechs destroyed, he can just rebuild those at the utter expansion. Now, taking a look at the defenses from Matiz over here, we can see that he's built a lot of laser towers, albeit in really awkward positions. But if he builds a few more laser towers, as well as keeps patrolling with his Hornets and his air fighters, he will be able to stop all slammer attacks that ever come to his base. However, he will lose the second advanced bot factory, which is a little bit unfortunate, to say the least.
Interestingly, we have a couple of Avengers hovering over Godde's main base. If they move slightly to the south, they could pick off all of these orbital fabricators and an Astreus.
Yes, they definitely could. In fact, I do believe that, again, maybe a laser platform would be the most useful thing for, Godde just destroy the teleport of Matiz right now.
I'm a little bit behind you. That's so many slammers. Did the commander get through or not? I still see the commander there, and I see too many slammers sitting for the commander.
The commander did get through. The Hornets were able to kill off those slammers.
Okay,
so
good.
right now, it seems like Matt is still fighting uphill battle, still struggling to stay alive. He's still doing a pretty good job at rebuilding his base time after time again. I feel like he still needs to plug his base with a few more holes, more turrets, more this, more that, more anti-nukes. I don't see a lot of nuke production from Godde. And you know what's fun? Oh, there's the second nuke.
I should probably point out, there be a Haley on the moon.
Oh my god. So, if Godde does not kill the commander, actually, he will just slam the moon into the planet over here and annihilate Matis. Now, where is this nuke going? It's probably going to hit the tier 2 bot factories. That's going to put Matis further behind economically as well as production-wise.
I would say it's going for that. It's going for the laser towers. It's going for the laser towers because look at all of those slammers going in.
Laser towers are still up, though.
Oh no, it just missed them.
Albeit the slammers could go around.
Yeah, the slammers definitely could. Sorry, I'm a
Slammer-
little bit laggy.
It's okay. And the slammers from Matis are doing a good job at protecting his base from the attacking army over here. Albeit, though, the slammers can't be at...
The teleporter's up,
multiple
the
places
commander's
at
getting
the same time. Oh, but where will it go?
It will be
Will it
going to
still
the
go to the
moon. It will be going to the moon, and it'll be greeted by a whole
But
bunch of
Godde
red
sees
blobs.
it. Godde does see it. Now, Godde, what he could do is actually send in these fabricators and reclaim this commander, actually. It is possible. Now, the commander does need some slammer support. I'm not sure why he didn't bring slammers with him. Where's the D-gun? We need to see the D-gun right now. He could destroy this giant array of fabricators over here. Here comes the slammers, one by one, unfortunately, however. A little bit strange to see slammers coming in one by one. There we go. There's more slammers coming in. And the teleporter is going to be used by Godde over here. So right now, the main action of this game is going to be between these two commanders. Will they be able to fight? Will they be able to kill each other? Who will win this massive battle that will determine the fate of this game right now? Godde's commander taking a lot of damage. The fabricator is going to come forward and heal him up. This could be really, really close, Marshall. Hold me.
I am lagging behind. I'm just sitting with bated breath, biting my nails because the commanders are still standing way away from each other. The slammer's only just coming through the teleporter at my end. But certainly, if those slammers can take down the fabricators, goodness me, oh my word, Godde's commander is on the run. Can he get out of there? There's so many slammers.
The commander from Godde was able to escape with the use of Astraeus, and now all hope of Matt is actually killing the commander has been lost away due to the fact that, oh wait, there's an Avenger! There's an Avenger! Oh, will the Avenger be able to? No, it's going to be sniped by the umbrella. It's too late. The Strays is already gone. Oh,
that was close. That was close. I'm still lagging behind,
close.
but that was damn close.
With the help of his Avengers, we'll be able to secure Purgatory or
Purgator.
Yes, and will win that moon. However,
Goodness me, there's so many slammers on the main planet moving in on Matiz's base. That is going to eradicate Matiz's original presence.
And now it's time for the cleanup crew, as Godde is going to move in with a couple of slammers and destroy every factory and energy production in sight for Matis over here. So Matis has effectively traded his old base for the new base on the moon. Now, he could still be in a really good position if he just equals up on the moon and uses the moon as sort of a massive sort of missile against
He's
Purgator.
gonna have trouble because there is a teleporter linking the moon and Godde's base with so many slammers beginning to pour through, and unfortunately for Matiz, he does not have the production to keep the slammers coming through.
And this could be it for now. GG, gentlemen. Well played game for both Matis and Godde. I felt like both these players could definitely have played a little bit better. Matis more importantly, but again, it was a good final and a very, very close end indeed. Thank you to everybody who was watching. Thank you to Mr. Wrongcat who did sponsor this game. Thank you to WP Marshall who was originally supposed to cast this game and allowed for multiple casters to be in this game. Thank you to everybody who watched this game. Thank you to Uber Entertainment for making a fantastic game. And thank you for my mom for not aborting me. Thank you so much, everybody. And goodbye for me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. That was the final. That was beautiful. And that was laggy. I do apologise for the lag, but goodness gracious me, that was brilliant. We see a top-level player just having it in fisticuffs with an underdog who fought for his own so valiantly, but ultimately just didn't quite manage to secure the victory there. A lot of good plays from both players, a lot of advantages not fully exploited, a lot of advantages fully exploited, and a lot of good attacks as well. And a really successful tournament, I think, as well. And just like Froflness said just a second ago, thank you to everybody who has helped make this happen. Roncat especially for organising it. It is his brainchild. I always said love child there, goodness me. We've also got thanks to give to Roncat for providing the Doge Coins, along with Evil Olive and Klops. I'm just going to be reiterating what Froflness said here because it needs saying. And we've had so many tournament officials who have been helping myself and Roncat and sort of organising it as a team. Yes, it was a bit hectic at first, but I think we pulled through, and I think we did it justice. So thank you to all of those. And that's about it, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry I couldn't get up any of the other games, but my internet was just too dodgy because I had to be in IRC and TeamSpeak organising so much stuff at once, and PA just didn't have enough internet to be even worth recording. Like, if you thought this game was laggy, the other ones would just blip, and then 10-second wait, and then blip, and then it was chaos, and they only really needed me there as a referee in the earlier games. Anyway, I'm rambling. Don't forget to pop a like or a comment if you enjoyed this. And I do hope you stick around for a lot more Planetary Annihilation videos and other videos as well coming your way very, very soon indeed. And if you have any pointers or anything you'd like to say, as always, just pop me a PM in any of the forums or anything like that. If you'd like me to cast a game, I will try. Just pop me a PM or, make a comment or anything like that. And on that note, thanks again for watching. And as always, have a nice day.